Hello everyone, Skits here and welcome to first video of my new series called Mods of the Month. Now if you are watching me during my Fallout New Vegas era, you pretty much know what you can expect. In this video series I will be showing you what I think are the top 10 mods that came out in the previous month for Fallout 4. Now this time we're gonna take a look at best mods that came out in November of 2015. Now since Fallout 4 just came out, there was really a huge amount of mods that were released. Now of course there is a chance I did not feature your favorite mod, and if I did not, feel free to post it down in the comments below, I will be glad to read them. And now let's get to it. Starting off, we've got my favorite mod, which is the full dialogue interface by Cirosan. Now as we all know, in vanilla game, the dialogue wheel is really bad. When you're talking to people, you really don't know what you're going to say and you're only presented with options no, question, yes or sarcastic. Of course you have no idea what you're about to say, and this especially applies to sarcastic and sometimes to the no option. Now this mod fixes that. Now when you are in a dialogue, you can see the full sentence that your character is about to say. Now there are a few different versions of this mod. You can use the original dialogue wheel but with full sentences, or you can use dialogue system similar to one that was used in Fallout 3 or New Vegas, where you have all of the options labeled with numbers. Now I personally think that the dialogue in Fallout 4 is pretty good, and my only problem with it was that you have really no idea what your character was about to say. But this mod fixes that. If I had to recommend you just one mod that you should install, I would go with this one, because I personally think it is essential for any game. Next up we have enhanced blood textures by dDefinder. Now if you ever modded any of the previous Fallout games, I think you're pretty familiar with this mod. Now just like its name says, this mod enhances vanilla blood textures. Now as you can see on the comparison shots, the blood splatters are now a lot bigger. If you're being attacked and are taking damage, there is blood splattered on your screen as well. Now the textures for blood also look a bit better, and there are also some alternate files that will change the color of the blood and the blood stains, and they will also add a few additional changes. And if you also install the experimental plugin, you will get new wound types and also increased size of the screen blood and its duration. Now this is yet another one of very important mods. I basically used it all the time in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3. And if you're a bit disappointed with the blood in Fallout 4, which I think looks pretty good, but you still think it needs a bit of improvement, then I would definitely recommend this mod. Coming up next we have yet another great mod, which is called Armorsmith Extended by Gambit77. I think that most of you have already noticed that in the vanilla game you're unable to wear armor pieces under certain types of clothing like suits, rags or uniforms. Now I personally think that this should be allowed in the vanilla game, because let's be honest here, I don't think that any rags or any uniform is a lot thicker than the vault suit that actually allows you to wear armor pieces on top of it. Another feature of this mod is that it allows you to wear different types of headgears together. For example, I was personally a bit disappointed that you weren't able to wear bandanas along with some of the headgear, but thankfully this mod fixes that. Now there are additional 3 features in this mod as well. The first one is that every helmet and hat in game can now have a ballistic weave armor added to it. Next one is that every outfit can have either a torso, leg, arm or vault suit armor mod, which will for example increase its damage resistance or any various statistics. So now when you are wearing that fancy suit you really like, it will actually also give you some protection. And there's also a 5th new feature after the newest update, which adds new outfits that are craftable from the new custom Armorsmith workbench. So yeah, definitely a great mod, and if just like me you were disappointed with the fact that you weren't able to wear armor along with your fancy clothing, then definitely install this mod. Moving on, we've got Lowered Weapons by Lesma666. Now this was one of the first and most popular mods that was released on Fallout Nexus. Now this mod makes yet another change to some of the vanilla systems, this time to the weapons. As you may have noticed in vanilla game, whenever you are walking with your weapon, it is not lowered but instead you're holding it in front of you. Now this could be a little bit annoying, especially with the big weapons that took a big part of your screen. And also it seems kinda dumb to have your weapon aiming at, for example, settlers that you're about to talk with. Now this mod however fixes that, and now whenever you are not in a combat situation, you will have your weapon lowered. Now I personally think that this is more realistic and also looks a lot better, because let's be honest, like I said, if you're walking in a safe town, you're definitely not going to wave your weapon around like you're about to shoot everyone there. Now my only small minor complaint is that sometimes even in combat your character has lowered weapon, and I hope that modder is able to fix that even before the creation kit comes out, because on the other hand I found that a bit unrealistic. But otherwise this is definitely a great mod. Thanks to this mod your weapons will no longer take a big part of your screen, and you will no longer look like you're threatening everyone you're talking with, and so definitely go ahead and download this mod. Coming up next we have Crafting Workbenches by drdanzel. Now this mod, just like its name says, adds a few additional crafting workbenches into your game. Now in vanilla game you're only able to craft weapon and armor modifications, but you're unable to craft the armors themselves. This mod however adds few new workbenches with these functions. There is a workbench that will allow you to craft weapons, there is one for armor, there is a separate one also for clothing. Then we also have a workbench for junk and for ammunition. Now there are a few different plugins you can choose. You can either choose the lore friendly version when you're unable to craft the pre-war weapons and armors, but you can also choose the optional plugin that will allow you to craft basically everything. Now what I really like is that all of the armors at the workbenches are separated into different categories, and they are not all just in one huge big list. If you're just looking for a specific combat armor piece, you can find it under the combat category and so on. I think that my favorite feature out of this was the ammunition crafting. I personally thought it was a bit weird that Bethesda did not include ability to craft ammunition that was available in Fallout New Vegas, but I guess they had their reasons for it. Anyway, since we're talking about ammunition, I also have to mention that there are also separate mods that only allow you to craft ammunition, and if you don't want other workbenches for weapons, armors and junk items, then you should take a look at those other mods as well. But if you don't mind them, then I think that you should go ahead and check out this mod. Next up we have Homemaker Expanded Settlements by NovaCoru. Now I personally really like Bethesda building settlement system. I think that it is one of their best new features, and this mod expands on that by adding tons of new items that you can craft. Now for example you can now craft farmable crops, and you can also plant all of the planters that are available in base game. For example the ones in the Grey Garden or in Vault 81. You can find tons of new containers in this mod for ammunition, meat bags, lockers, refrigerators and a lot more. There are also new beds, chairs, toilets, showers and other household objects included from both pre-war and post-war. There is also a new set of Institute objects that you can craft, but they will only be available to you after a certain point in the game that I unfortunately did not reach yet, and that's why I cannot show them to you. And also some new usable light sources like candles, table lamps, and finally there are also 3 new fence sets. The Covenant concrete walls that I really like, and I think I'm going to use them for my settlement soon. Then we've got the new chain link fences and also Brotherhood of Steel barriers. Now I think that all of these items are a great addition to the crafting system, and I think that I'm definitely going to use at least some of them for my own settlement. Now here I have to mention yet another mod, which is Settlement Supplies Expanded by Troy Irving, that I did not feature unfortunately, mainly because it was created using a script that has a small chance of corrupting your game, and I did not really feel like trying it out. But I will post the link for it down in the description as well, and you can check it out yourself if you're not afraid of corrupting your saves. But back to Homemaker, I personally think it is an amazing mod, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone that enjoys building settlements just like me. Coming up next we have Vivid Fallout Landscapes by Hein84. Now even though Fallout is not even a month old, we already have tons of new retexture mods available. Now this retexture mod takes care of the landscapes. Now in vanilla game I never noticed that the landscapes were bad or blurry or had the lowest texture, but after I installed this mod and then tried to take some comparison shots, I noticed that they are indeed not so great. Now if your computer has no problems running Fallout on Ultra, then I would recommend this mod. It makes landscapes look a lot better. They are a lot sharper, and also I think they have better textures as well. Now you can find these textures in 1K or 2K, and there is also a version that is great for the screenshot taking, that will however slow your game down a bit. And if you really like these landscapes by Hein84, he also retextured rocks in his other mod, so make sure you check that one out as well. Moving on, we've got Fallout 4 Configuration Tool by Bilago. Now this mod doesn't directly change content in game, but it is instead the configuration tool, just like its name says. Now Bethesda did not allow us to change all the settings we would like to, so Bilago decided to create this configuration tool to help us out. Now thanks to this configuration tool, you can, for example, enable console, enable mattes, and you no longer have to add lines to the inner settings. You can enable, disable intro video, you can tweak your performance, make some changes to the HUD like its color or size, for example. You can choose to have this configuration tool as your default launcher. Then you can, for example, tweak the mouse sensibility, tweak resolution, and there are tons and tons of other changes that you can make that you wouldn't be able to do with the Bethesda configuration tool. Now this is, I think, the only mod that you cannot install with Nexus Mod Manager, or I wouldn't recommend it. It is best to just download it manually, extract it, and then launch it. And then after that you can just change any of your files. Now if you also want to make some separate changes to your ini files, the configuration tool tags them as read only, so make sure you change that in it. And otherwise, I think I would recommend this tool for anyone who likes to tweak their game a bit more. I personally did not really have to use it, but I see that it is very popular on Nexus. And I guess that a lot of people want to have some additional settings, so if you do as well, make sure you check it out. Next up, we have the Eyes of Beauty Fallout Edition by LogRaam, aka Gabriel Mailhot. Now if you ever modded Skyrim, you pretty much know what you can expect. This mod changes the resolution of the eyes and also adds some new additional eye colors. And this is one of the mods that was released right after the game came out, and it is one of the most populars on the Nexus right now. And I think that this mod deserves it. I mean, the new eyes look absolutely beautiful. There are some new amazing colors that you can choose from, and if I started a new game, I would choose one of the eyes that was added by this mod. So yeah, if you liked this mod in Skyrim, and if you're disappointed with new Fallout 4 eye colors or types, then go ahead and install this mod. And last but not least, I have 3 small mods that I think deserve some attention. First one is Improved Map by MM137. Thanks to this mod, you are now able to see roads in your Pip-Boy. Now in vanilla game you were not really able to, and it was kinda hard to orientate on the map, but thanks to this mod it is a lot easier. There are actually 2 versions of this mod. First one is the original one, and there is also a darker version that is a bit more similar to the vanilla version. Second one is called Value Per Weight Indicator for Container UI by CyberShadow. Now this mod adds an additional information row that displays the value divided by weight for each of your items. Now I think that this mod is useful for people that like to scavenge a lot, but eventually they have to drop something, and this mod can help them to choose what they want to drop. Even though I personally try to collect as much junk as possible, since it is important for crafting and settlement building, but when even your companion is full and you really have to drop something, that this mod could be very useful. And the last small mod I have for you is called Better Item Sorting by xandarori. Now this mod improves sorting in your inventory. Thanks to this mod, you are now able to distinguish between different types of items, especially in the miscellaneous, junk and 8 category. As you can see in the 8 category, we now have different items in different categories like cams, radioactive food, items important for crafting, alcohol, and so on. In the miscellaneous category, you now, for example, have separate bobbleheads, separate game items, magazines, notes, and some additional categories that are, I think, very important if you're looking for a specific thing. And in the junk category, you have items that are usually added to the crafting category. Now I think that for the weapons and apparel it does not change anything, but I still think it is a pretty useful mod, especially for people that don't like vanilla inventory sorting and would like to try something new out. And these are all the mods that I wanted to mention in this video. Now I'm sure there are also tons of other great mods on the Nexus, so make sure you don't just go over the hot files. And yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, tell me what you think about it in the comments, subscribe for more Fallout 4 content, and I will see you next time.